Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to be running over the 10.5 patch notes for Teamfight Tactics. Reason why I'm laughing is because I saw this tweet out on, I think, like Friday or something like that, and I see that they're buffing Berserkers, buffing Electric, buffing Glacial, buffing Zed, buffing Ezreal, and it's completely insane, right? Because Berserkers are probably the strongest composition on last patch. Same with like Electric and Glacial and all that. So it's like no idea why they're buffing them. But spoiler alert: I already read the patch notes this time. I'm not doing this fresh because I was just really curious what they're actually going to do. And thankfully, the patch is not as atrocious as I thought it would be. It's actually a pretty good patch. So they did change a lot. They're not buffing Berserkers anymore. Thank the Lord, you know. But they are buffing Blade Masters. But let's skip all this. Let's get into the actual numbers. That's why we're all here. And keep in mind, this is the last ranked patch for set 2. And after 10.5, we're on to Galaxy. So let's get ready for that too. So first we have the traits. Blade Master proc chance increased from 35% to 40%. So that's definitely going to bring Blade Masters back into play a little bit because this was reverting their old nerf. Again, I don't know why they nerfed something before like 5 different ways. This was in reference to the Sivir builds that were very popular before. But they didn't need to touch the Blade Master procs, they just needed to fix Sivir. But they finally, it took them a few patches to realize that, but they have now. So good on them. Electric still got buffed, but it was only buffed at 4 Electric, which doesn't happen very often, so I'm actually okay with that. That doesn't really change the game. The only way to get 4 Electrics is with Electric Lux. And you're probably going to be high rolling that game anyways if you hit level 2 Zed and an Electric Lux as well. So this doesn't change the outcome of any game, so that doesn't really matter. Glacial, again, I saw the tentative changes before, and they're buffing it a lot, but thank God they're only buffing 6 Glacial. 6 Glacial is a huge bait, because later in the game, who cares about doing 200 more damage? If we compare this to Electric, for example, this is double the damage, but like, it's in an AoE. Glacial's only single target, so it's like this isn't that big of a jump from 4 Glacial to 6 Glacial, whereas 3 Electric to 4 Electric is a huge difference for like Zed, especially since Zed multiplies. It's like magnifies it even more. But this Glacial buff doesn't do anything. 6 Glacial, big bait, never go for it because it's just not good late game. Because anything, if it increased the stun chance like it did before, whenever you increased Glacial bonus, then it could scale into the late game. But when it's just a 25% chance for a stun and like a little extra damage, this extra damage isn't going to do anything for you late game compared to adding 2 real champions. So now we're on to the champion balance. Diana, this buff doesn't really do too much. It just increases her shield duration, but in my opinion, it gets used up pretty much all the time. I haven't been paying too much attention to it because I don't play too much Diana, but this change doesn't really affect anything in the game. Leona shield duration decreased from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. This is probably the biggest change of the patch because Leona is so core in so many different compositions. So I'll be interested in seeing how much people value Leona going forward. Personally, I think she's still the strongest 1-cost unit in the game because she's one of the few that actually scale into late game, and like her blocking off a lot of damage, like that extra second, I don't think it's going to matter that much because she lives through pretty much everything already right now. But it is a good change because it does touch her down a little bit. Zyra starting and total mana, oh no, sorry, just the total mana decreased to 65, so she's going to be a lot better as an early game carry. Zyra used to be broken, but then she got nerfed like 10 different ways. So they're just giving her a little power back, which is fine. I don't think this is going to change much. Infernos are pretty garbage in the current meta. Syndra, I'm talking about like 6 Infernos. 3 Infernos fine, and you could use her as a transition unit, of course, with Kindred carry. Next we're on to tier 2. Syndra spell damage increased at level 1, level 2, and level 3 by 50 at level 1, 25 at level 2, and 50 at level 3. So the only big change here is the level 1 one, because this is actually pretty significant. It's around like 25% buff at level 1. And that's going to be huge for Ocean Mages, because you could just play the Syndra level 1 right away and not feel too bad about it. Yasuo mana increased to 90. I don't know why they do this. Yasuo is not that great, but it does make it easier for lower elo, because now they can't just brainlessly brainlessly play Yasuo, which is what a lot of players do there. So overall, I actually don't mind this change as much as I did before because like at higher level, no one plays him at all. But for the health of the game, it's good because then people in lower elos are going to be enjoying the game a little more. Next up, we have tier 3 Ezreal spell damage. God knows why they continued with this buff because like Ezreal doesn't need any help. He's one of the better champions because he's part of the glacial buffs and he is a very solid mid game carry. In fact, a lot of people stack him in the mid game and use him to transition. Well, so buffing him at level 1 doesn't help that cause, but it also makes him more overpowered as a transition unit. So again, when we looked at this, I think Riot got free advice from everyone. Their patch strategy is actually genius now that I think about it. They release like incredibly terrible patch notes, and then they have everyone comment on what should be fixed, and everyone just did their job for them. So good on them. They it's like next level. I was angry at it before, but like I'm good with it now. It's smart of them to do this. So the only change here that I actually think shouldn't have happened that did is the Ezreal change. Everything else I'm pretty much agreeing with on this patch. Um, but yeah, it's genius of their balanced team. They finally realize that other people do their job better than them. So now we're moving on to Karma. Karma's been busted a while. God knows why they buffed Lunar when Karma and Leona were probably two of the best champions already. But thank God they're touching her up now. So level 1 decreased by 5% on the bonus attack speed, and at level 2 decreased by 10%. No one ever completes her for 3 stars, so this doesn't matter. But I guess if you want to do it for fun, it'll be a little better, you know? But great change overall because she is busted. She's played in every composition. Same with Leona, so it's like a no-brainer that they need to nerf it after like the 5 patches they've been out. Nocturne passive healing. Okay, I know I wrote off Nocturne on the last patch, but maybe this brings him back a little bit because at level 3, 70% is a lot, and whenever you play Nocturne, you generally try to get him to level 3. Also keep in mind that even at level 1, he gets the bonus as if he were level 3, so this might... I'm not saying we're back to assassin spatulas with like 6 assassins and Nocturne. I'm not saying that, or maybe even like a Blademaster Nocturne build, but it might come around. So I'm very interested in seeing it come back because spatula is so rare now. So going for this will still have some risk, but it might be fun and rewarding as well. Next up, we're on the tier 4s, Janna Spell Healing. So this one's increased at all levels. I guess it's fine. I mean, I don't think she needed a buff. She's already very good. She's just kind of niche, you know, because wind is like, there aren't too many people with wind synergy. It's just her and Yasuo, and when you're on the cloud map, you have Kiana as well. So I think that's why she's not played too much, but I don't think she needed a buff, but whatever. This one's fine. I'm not angry about it. Twitch, okay, this one still doesn't make sense. Twitch is like one of the primary carries in Rangers. He one-shots teams. I don't know if you guys saw my coaching videos going over Rangers, but if he gets any sort of decent items, even Twitch 1, which is what they're buffing, by the way, and we had Twitch 1 for the majority of that game, absolutely shreds teams anyways. You don't even need to upgrade him. Well, you prefer it, obviously, for the extra health, but, like, why are you buffing Twitch 1 when he's already so strong with, like, great items? Okay, so this is where the heartache and the stress like got reduced a lot because a lot of their numbers in this picture were mostly for 3 costs. I know they mentioned it was for 3 costs, but they still buffed Ezreal at 1 star, so it doesn't completely make sense. But yeah, Diana, she gets 1 more orb at level 3. Zyra gets 1 more plant. It doesn't really matter. I guess you could try hyper rolling infernos or something like that. Maybe explore if it works, but I don't think it's gonna be that fruitful. Rek'Sai increased, so that improves predators a little bit, which is interesting. But he already one-shots everything at 850 damage in most cases. Well, not one-shots, but he'll proc predator most of the time anyways. So I don't think this buff is that big. Mundo, interesting, but I don't see why. You still probably shouldn't go for level 3 Mundo because he scales very badly. He's very good in the early game, but once everyone gets like any sort of healing reduction, or people don't group around certain areas, he's just not as good anymore. He's literally only played because he's a poison and berserker. Zed clone mana reduction. Okay, wow, you're gonna have a lot of Zeds now. Okay, yeah, that's what they're saying here. All right, that's fun. No one's ever gonna get level 3 Zed, so it's fine. Lux, same thing. No one's gonna get level 3 Lux. Do they have any bug fixes? I don't see any there. But that's it for the patch. I'm really liking this. Maybe we see Nocturne. I'm doubting it, but I'm hopeful. You know, maybe it'll change up the meta because the past few patches have been very similar. Blade Master buff. We'll see how that works for like buffing. Maybe Master Yi gets better from this because I know Yasuo got nerfed, so maybe you don't actually want to go Blade Master still. Um, Electric buff, yeah, it doesn't do much. Glacial buff doesn't do anything. So I'm just glad they avoided this whole disaster because they did release the numbers like 2 days later, but before the official patch notes came out, and they finally realized they woke up. They realized other people do their job better than them, and they made a lot of good changes. So I rate this patch 9 out of 10. That's probably the highest they're ever going to get. But thanks so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm going to be releasing a lot of stuff for set 3. So definitely look out for that. A lot of beginner stuff, and I'm still going to do more advanced stuff as well. Just at the start of the patch, I'm going to be focusing more on beginner stuff. So just keep that in mind. But every Friday, meta snapshot out, so definitely look out for that. But I'll see you guys next time. Good luck on your climb.